Football is back. Welcome back into the live streams. These are going to be happening most Sundays, some Thursdays as well. And obviously for the first day of the year, first football game of the year, we have to go live. So a lot of people are already in. I'm going to give it some time for people to filter in as well. And any questions that you have from a waiver wire, from a trades, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of start-sit questions we'll be answering today. I have pulled up, I just finished the first run of rankings and projections, the top 150 flex. These are broken down by position. A lot of you already grabbed the top 50 flex rankings. That's completely free at flexrankings.com. This is the full top 150 flex rankings. And this is for week one. It's updated every single week if you're a Blueprint member. And then obviously we have, they go so in depth. If I scroll down, I literally have projected 87 running backs. Kind of crazy. 128 wide receivers for the people that are in their 20-person leagues, just hoping for one of their flex options or wide receiver threes to score 4 points. We got you covered as well. So see a bunch of people coming in right now. Start asking your questions. They're going to start popping up on the screen. So get those questions in and we'll be good to go. Let's get these questions beautiful. Let's just start this up here. There we go. Alrighty. What's going on, Spanky? What's going on? I see a bunch of people hopping in right now. Oh yeah. The questions are flowing through. Sweet. Let me just check one thing quickly as we go here. So I'm going to pull this up for a second and then I'm just going to add in the live chat. Gonna add in the live chat here. Beautiful. There we go. Awesome. Got it. Alrighty, sweet. Drake May or Dak Prescott this week? It's a really good week for both of these guys. If I pull up the rankings right here, you can see that I currently have Drake May as my quarterback 11. Dak Prescott is my quarterback 15. The nice thing about Dak Prescott is that they might fall behind in this game. People expect them to fall behind in this game because of the Cowboys defense. But they might not, right? I don't know if it's going to be a 20-point deficit. They might be in a neutral game script. That's a 7-point game or so, right? Bunch of questions hopping in right now. So I'll be referencing, the rankings throughout for any questions you have. Ferguson or Strange this week? Yeah, I'm going to have to be going with Ferguson there. Neither guy is an elite tight end option, but I would say Ferguson is a borderline top 12 tight end this week, where Strange, maybe he emerges after week one, but there's still a lot of competition. Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter right off the bat. We got a $5 super chat from David Turner. I appreciate that. He says, second flex spot. Do I want Pittman or Pollard? I want Pollard there all day long. That's a workhorse running back for sure. So I appreciate that super chat, but I'm going to be going with Pollard in that spot. Give me the workhorse running back all day, every day, with no Tajay Spears. Tons of questions coming in. So if your question isn't answered, it will definitely get answered by super chat just because it pops to the top for me, but we'll try and get as many as we can. Pearsall or Abuka? Pearsall is my 71st overall player right now in the top 150 flex rankings. Abuka is my 58th, so I'm feeling pretty strong about Abuka. There's not many formats where I want to be sitting Abuka unless you started your draft with 2 or 3 elite receivers in your first 4 or 5 picks. Then obviously you just don't have enough room if you're already starting a CeeDee Lamb, maybe a Drake London type of build. Maybe you ended up landing a Mike Evans later on. Devontae Adams, that's a situation where it's tough to get Abuka in your lineups, but for the most part, I want to be starting him. For sure. Downs or Pittman this week? So Downs seems to be off the injury report, right? If we pull it up right here. So these are the rankings, but if we pull it up on the injury report front, so if you just scroll through this news, it seems like Josh Downs, he's already practicing. He wasn't even listed on the injury report for the Colts, so Downs should be good to go. Some interesting news that we got today is that Christian Kirk's probably not going to play. What does that mean for those players? The rookies there, maybe they start to get some playing time for Jalen Nolan, obviously Jaden Higgins. So Kirk didn't practice on Wednesday and it just came out that he's probably not going to play, but Downs is going to be playing, it seems. Do you start or sit Ridley versus Abuka? Ridley versus Abuka is a very good one and one that I'm actually personally weighing in one of my leagues right now. So let's just take a look at it. Why not? So we'll pull up the top 150 overall flex rankings. Calvin Ridley right now is my 62nd overall player, as you can see right here. And then if we scroll up, Emeka Egbuka 58th. So I like Egbuka more right now. I have him projected for 12.3 points, Ridley for 12 points. As you can see, it's basically a coin flip. I have these guys projected for both 12 points. I'll take Egbuka with the slight edge there. And there's also kind of both guys kind of have an untapped upside because Ridley, new quarterback, new system. Egbuka, just new to the league in general and also a new system in terms of offensive coordinator. But I think Ibuka has a little bit more untapped upside to where like you could get a monster performance week one, just because we don't know what that upside is yet. We kind of know what Ridley's upside is. It's a good upside. It's 120 yards or so, but we know how often Ridley gets there. Maybe Ibuka gets it more frequently. Swift or Ridley for week one? Let's go right back into it, DJ. I appreciate you. So Ridley's my 62nd overall player. If we scroll down here, Swift is probably not going to be on there for a little while. So Swift, it's going to be Ridley for me, but I'll just show you where Swift is just to make this worth your investment. Actually, he might actually be, let's see here, DeAndre Swift. I'd be shocked if he's higher up or surprised. So actually, he's my 41st. Oh, okay. So this makes sense. Yeah. So I'll take Ridley here. This is going to be a lot because of just the overall workload that I'm giving him and because of the Roschon news today. So I'll take Swift. I updated this today. Roschon Johnson's still not practicing. The expectation towards the beginning of the week is that Roschon would play. It doesn't look like he's trending to play. So if there's no Roschon out there and DeAndre Swift on Monday Night Football, sure, against Brian Flores, Vikings defense isn't great. But if the expectation that his biggest competition is Kyle Monangai, 7th round rookie running back. People love the 7th round rookie running backs, JCM, Rashard Smith, right? Kyle Monangai cannot block. He's not going to be blocking against a Brian Flores Vikings defense. So Swift's going to see all the snaps. So yeah, Swift is a top 50 play this week for sure. RB2 for sure. Appreciate the super chat. Another super chat. Should I trade Jalen Hurts and Antonio Brown for Lamar Jackson? I assume this isn't a super flex league, just like a standard fantasy league, half PPR, whatever. I would much rather have the Hurts and Antonio Brown? You said, did you mean AJ Brown? Just clarify that for me, Nosebleed. If you're trading AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts for Lamar, no. Give me Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. I mean, that's your 2nd and 4th round fantasy pick for a 3rd round fantasy pick. There's no way. Oh. So assuming you meant AJ Brown there's no way. Appreciate all the super chats coming in. We're going to get to all these. Don't worry. Just might take a second as we get through these. We get a $5 super chat from Kareem. Appreciate you, Kareem. He says, I appreciate your work over the last few years. I appreciate you as well. Pickens or Pearsall in my flex? Ooh, so I'm playing Pickens on a lot of spots tonight. Pickens is my 45th overall player. He's getting the start over Pearsall. That doesn't mean I don't like Pearsall. He's actually rated pretty highly for me. You can see right here, Ricky Pearsall, 71st overall, 11.2 fantasy points is my projection from my system. But Pickens is on another level. Pickens was worthy towards the end of the summer of like a 4th round pick. Usually you can get him in the 5th round of your fantasy drafts. I like it tonight for Pickens. I do think the Cowboys play from behind. So does the Vegas odds. I do think Dak Prescott probably throws for 35 to 40 plus attempts. And if that's the case, I feel good about Pickens earning at least a 20% target share. So if you're going to throw 40 times, Pickens is in range for a 7 to 9 target game. That's pretty good. So give me Pickens there. Love everybody up in the chat right now. Thank you for this, Sal, says Marin. I appreciate y'all a ton. I'm seeing all the questions. I'm just trying to answer as many as I can, of course. $2 super chat from Joey. He says, 2 flex starts. Amarian Hampton, Tedero McMillan, and Devonta Smith. I don't even have to look at this one. Give me Amarian Hampton. That's a no-doubter. And then for your second one here, we could look through this because it's going to be closer than you think. So Amarian Hampton's my 32nd overall player. Tedero McMillan's my 34th overall player. So as of right now, the 2 rookies are kind of standing out. I'm going to be taking the 2 rookies over Devonta Smith, who's my 54th overall player. So give me the 2 rookies right now. Obvious upsides for Devonta Smith or for Tedero McMillan. Number 1 option in his offense. No Jalen Colker. Adam Thielen shipped out. Has a higher target upside compared to a Devonta Smith. Second option in more of a run-first offense where their game script tonight as favorites leans for them to run the ball. And in terms of Marion Hampton, I know Najee Harris, they say, is going to play. Jim Harbaugh today came out and said that Hampton is the starter. That's kind of the expectation that we all knew was going to happen, but it's good to just kind of get that clarified. Let me actually move this a little bit just so the chat is a little bit, there we go. Beautiful. So appreciate the super chat. Let's get into the next one. Brock or Kyler? Wide receiver 2, Terry. Should I trade for Sutton? I would keep Terry over Sutton personally heading into week 1. In terms of your quarterback question, let's just show you, since you super chatted, I'll show you the exact breakdown. This is as of right now. My rankings will be updated come Sunday morning for all the Friday injury report and Saturday news. Brock versus Kyler Murray. As of right now, you can see Kyler Murray is my quarterback 9 for 19.5 points. Brock, my quarterback 13 for 18.5 points. It's only separated by 1 point, but I will be taking Kyler Murray here. I'll take Kyler Murray here. And then you can see there's just kind of such a clear and obvious up tier right here. These like 5 quarterbacks, the 5 that went in the draft, I mean, they just always separate themselves in fantasy. And that's kind of playing out in the projections. Sutton or Ibuka, Dak or Bryce. In terms of Dak or Bryce, you can see those projections right here. Bryce, 19th overall, 17.4 points. Dak pretty clearly ahead at 15th overall, but still in the 17-point range. But I think he has a higher ceiling and a higher floor. So give me Dak Prescott there. In terms of Sutton versus Ibuka, another great question. I'm taking Cortland Sutton there. I like both those guys. They are very close in my like rest of the season rankings, but for this week specifically, Sutton is a must start. You heard that right. Cortland Sutton is my 33rd overall player. If I pull up where Cortland Sutton is in the rankings right now in the Fantasy Blueprint, if you want to join, there's a couple spots available right now at jointheblueprint.com. He is my wide receiver 16. Cortland Sutton projects out better this week than some names you might not think that he should. Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams, Jackson Smith and Jigba projects out very similarly to guys like Lad McConkey, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill. Cortland Sutton, we saw it at the end of the preseason. We saw it the final 10 games of last year. This guy's an absolute freak. He's an absolute beast when they finally gave him a quality quarterback and he himself got healthy. Yeah, Sutton is somebody that I want on my fantasy teams. Somebody asked, what is this ranking sheet you're looking at? These are my projections and rankings for week 1. They'll be updated. And then this sheet right here is my top 150 flex rankings. It's inside the Fantasy Blueprint. But you could actually get the top 50 flex rankings completely free. It's pinned down below, or you can just go to flexrankings.com. For every week of the year, I'll update it as well whenever I update my top 150. So if you just want to see like those top 50 on there, you can go to flexrankings.com. And then if you want the more in-depth stuff, you can join the Blueprint with the other members. All right, let's go back to these super chats here. Tons of super chats come in. Thank you so much. Mike Kelly says, $2 super chat, half PPR, Hunter, Harvey, or Debo at my flex spot. Travis Hunter, that is? Definitely Travis Hunter there for me out of those. If I assume that's Travis Hunter and not Hunter Henry. So yeah, I'll take Travis Hunter there. What do we got? Super chat here from Ricky. He says, Pearsall or Kenneth Walker full PPR? Give me Kenneth Walker there. I know some people are concerned about Kenneth Walker and just like health-wise. He seems fine. It seemed like they always had a plan during camp and in training camp and preseason. Kenneth Walker is a must start. He's my 27th overall player, which means that he's high up in my running back rankings as well. My running back 16 right now, projected for 15.5 points. Only one of 16 running backs for me to hit that mark of 15 or more points. So it's Kenneth Walker. It's not even close in terms of projections. Of course, can there be a world where Ricky Pearsall has 80 yards and a touchdown and Walker doesn't? Yes. But if we're talking about median outcomes, what we expect on average to happen, it's Kenneth Walker there. Yeah. But you have a good team. If you have to sit Ricky Pearsall, you have a very good team because he's a borderline top 50 play this week. Genty and Stephon Diggs for Scary Terry and Josh Jacobs. I would take the Scary Terry and Josh Jacobs side every single week. As of right now, like towards the end of summer, Terry was a 3rd round pick, Jacobs a 2nd round pick, Genty is a late 1st, and Diggs is like a late round pick. Yeah, give me the Scary Terry side all day long. $2 super chat. Should I go Kyler and JSN, Caleb Johnson for Hurts and Harvey? Yeah, I would. It really depends on the rest of your team there. Obviously, want Hurts over Kyler. When it comes to JSN versus Harvey, I want JSN. It depends on the rest of your team there. Do you have the wide receiver depth and you need a running back? Then yeah, I'd take that side because the Hurts side is appealing. But I will stick with the Kyler and JSN side without any additional context. Pearsall, Pacheco, or Diggs this week. I'm going to be taking Isaiah Pacheco there. Isaiah Pacheco is a strong start this week, in my opinion. A borderline top 20 running back, projected for over 13 points for me. That beats out Pearsall and Diggs in my rankings right now. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Let's hit some other questions in here. Pickens or Diggs this week? Easily Pickens for me. George Pickens is my wide receiver 22, projected for 13 points this week. Stephon Diggs, he's saying himself today that he's hoping he's not on a snap count this week, which means maybe Stephon Diggs is on a snap count. He's still a flex option. He's my wide receiver 34, but easily Pickens there. $5 super chat. I know you have DFS projections, but do you personally still play much volume on DraftKings at this point or no? Thanks for all the work over the years. Yeah, so as of last year, I ramped back my 150 lineup play just from like a bandwidth perspective, because of work and leisure. So for basically the most part, I mostly play single entry and 3 max, but as of last year, I just exclusively play single entry and 3 max. And then I'll throw my single entry lineup just into like the big GPP contest, because what if it hits, right? So just a single entry and 3 max guy, still getting down low 4 figures a week right now on the DFS platforms. But yeah, we have projections still and ownership and rankings and showdown tools for tonight as well. So if you have questions on that, you could ask if you would like. Robbie says, Sal, when are you dropping this week 1 rankings for the Blueprint? It dropped today. So go into the Blueprint and check it out. The week 1 rankings dropped today, earlier today, this morning. They drop for DFS, for season long, the top 150. It's already out. So go ahead and check that out, Robbie. It's already out over on Patreon in the Blueprint. Just Kane super chats and says, PPR, do I want... it says Zaylor Golden week 1. I think that means Zay Flowers. So Flowers or Golden week 1. Yeah, it's Flowers for me. Like, I didn't really like Flowers this season in fantasy based on where he was going, but compared to Golden, yeah, like I would be taking Flowers. Wide receiver 24 for me. Matthew Golden is my wide receiver 43, projected for 10 points, which makes Matthew Golden a wide receiver 3 flex option for you. Look, it's still a rookie that we don't know how that offense is going to still shake out. We expect it to be run heavy. We expect it to lean on Josh Jacobs. And filter through a bunch of different guys. So Matthew Golden, a lot of potential for him, but in week 1, I want Zay Flowers, who's probably locked into 6 with the upward of 8+ targets. $1 super chat from Chris Bryant, just donates, doesn't say anything. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Pickens or Hollywood Brown for my flex? Definitely George Pickens. That one's not even close. Marquise Brown's my wide receiver 46, and Pickens is my wide receiver 22. Quinn says, RB, Hubbard or Hampton? That's a good question. Let's look at the rankings. So between Hubbard and Hampton this week, let's scroll up. My answer is, look at this. You asked the hardest question you possibly could based on the rankings. Hampton is my running back 17. Hubbard is my running back 18. I'll be taking Hampton this week. I mean, I'll just take the guy who I think has actual ceiling. Like Chuba Hubbard, he was explosive last year. If you want to take him because he's a little bit safer, you feel better about his role. There's not a Najee Harris with one eye kind of competing with him. Hampton faces the Chiefs, which is not a great matchup, but I'll still be taking Hampton. I think he's going to operate as a 3-down back in an offense that wants to run the ball behind an offensive line that doesn't have Rashawn Slater, but still has 2 first-round picks on it. Star Pickens or Ibuka, full PPR. Pickens for me there. I like both of them, but Pickens for me there. That one is close, though. That one is very close, though. $2 super chat from Amir. Just sends a super chat. Appreciate that. Fraudy says, Dynasty just traded away Bucky and Ollie, 2026 first, 2026 second for Justin Jefferson and Judkins. My wide receivers are now JJ, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Chase in a year 1 reload. Good or bad trade? You're in a year 1 reload. So obviously you're not rebuilding. You're thinking you're reloading there. It's hard to say if it's a good or bad trade without seeing like the rest of your roster besides your wide receivers. I think that's a lot to give up for 2 to 3 more years of a prime Justin Jefferson. I think that's a lot to give up when it comes to 2 firsts, Bucky Irving, who obviously right now is a pretty nice stud. But yeah, if you were telling me like your win now, I like that. But in a reload, it feels like a lot to give up, but it's hard to say without seeing the rest of your roster. Was able to flip Hill for JSN. Very high on JSN. I prefer Tyreek Hill over JSN personally, but they're close. They were both like 3rd-round values. Should I start Golden or Ridley week 1 in the flex? Definitely Calvin Ridley. Great question. Definitely Calvin Ridley. Ridley is a very strong option this week. If I pull up the rankings and projections that I did this morning, you can see that Calvin Ridley for me is my wide receiver 32, but he's kind of in this really large group of players projected at 12 fantasy points. Like my wide receiver 32 is Ridley projected for 12, and my wide receiver 24 is projected for 12, right? So he's kind of in this really close range of being a wide receiver 2 this week. Yeah. All right. Yo, Sal, should I start Caleb Williams, Dak, or Trevor Lawrence? I want Trevor Lawrence this week, personally. Amazing matchup for Trevor Lawrence. Gets a reload with Liam Combs and Travis Hunter there. Feels good. Devonta Smith and Evan Ingram for Kittle, a good trade. I prefer the Devonta Smith and Ingram side there, personally. Wide receiver 2, Moore or Garrett Wilson? DJ Moore or Garrett Wilson? I will be taking Garrett Wilson there, but it's close. I'll take Garrett Wilson, but it's close. Flex, Walker, Myers, or Ridley. Walker for sure. Like, you must have amazing running backs, assuming it's a 2 running back league, because Walker is like an immediate RB2 for me this week. Some builds, if you went wide receiver early, is an RB1 for a lot of people. Somebody asked Mason Dodd or Sal Vetri this week. If you're not familiar, I am facing Mason this week in the Flock League, the 2nd year that we're doing the Flock League. Let me pull this up right now. And I face Mason because we're doing rivals in week 1. So yes, Mason is indeed my rival this week. The video went out yesterday where we did a little bit of a matchup preview. If I pull this up, you can see the 2 of us on the thumbnail. So it's a Flock League of a bunch of creators. We're kind of trying to, it's not The League, the show from FX. That show's amazing. We're doing our version of The League from YouTubers, but it's year 2 of it. It's a lot of fun. And, You can follow along. If you do watch that video, there's like the pinned comment Mason put is like a link to our sleeper league, and that's where you can follow along with it all year. But Mason and I don't think he's picked up a kicker yet, but I think based on projections, which I think the sleeper projections suck, but based on those projections, it's expected to be a really close match between the two of us. Right now, he doesn't have a kicker, and I'm projected to win by 11 points. By the time he picks up a kicker, it'll be like a 3-point projection swing. So it should be a good one. I'm going to pick myself in that matchup, of course. We both have really good running backs. That's the thing. Really good running backs. Pick 2, wide receivers. Deebo Samuel, Ridley, and Hunter. Give me Travis Hunter and Ridley there. Thank you so much for your help over the years. I appreciate you. Rest of season, Waddle or DJ Moore? Rest of season, Waddle or DJ Moore? As of right now, I want DJ Moore. But that's close. But as of right now, I want DJ Moore. Rest of season. James Cook or Sutton this week? Oof. You know what? That is a very good question. I hope you're still here because I'm about to pull up. Let me pull up this for you. Because that is a very good question. Let's pull up the flex rankings. This could probably be answered by the flex rankings, like the one that's free. You guys can view it at flexrankings.com. So James Cook or Courtland Sutton this week. Courtland Sutton is my 32nd overall player. You can see that right here, or 33rd overall player, sorry. 14.3 points. James Cook projected for 14 points is my 38th overall player. They're obviously very close. I'll be taking Courtland Sutton, the wide receiver 1 on his team. Kind of depends on your league format. Like, I'll still take Sutton, but PPR, I'm definitely taking Sutton. Standard, it gets a little bit closer with James Cook because he doesn't catch a lot of passes, right? So the PPR format, the wide receivers, usually the wide receiver 1 is going to win out a little bit. Olave or Diggs this week? My answer to that is going to be, I believe my answer to that is going to be, let me just double check this one. Yeah, my answer is Stephon Diggs, close. They're both top 36 receivers for me. There's no bad option. Hey, Sal, thank you so much for all the geeky numbers. I'm obsessed with it. I really appreciate you. I appreciate that, Tom. Thanks. James Cook or Sutton. So, we just answered that one. So that one's going to be Sutton. Week 1, Dak or Bryce? I'll take Dak there. Appreciate the super chat. Sergio says, I joined the Blueprint and I appreciate it so much. Well, thanks. I didn't even pay this guy to say that. Drake May or JJ McCarthy? Drake May. Drake May's in a really good spot this week. Some projection systems have him as a borderline top 5 quarterback. I can't really get him there unless you're going to kind of really expect him to take off and start running, especially with Stephon Diggs maybe being on a snap count. They alluded to that today. But Drake May, my quarterback 11 this week. I'm fine starting Drake May over guys like Brock Purdy. I might have to do that in one league. We'll see. Dak Prescott. I mean, it's just a good spot for Drake May this week. He's projecting out really well. RJ Harvey or Higgins in the flex. Like T Higgins? Which Higgins is that? T Higgins, Jaden Higgins, RJ Harvey over Jaden Higgins, but T Higgins over RJ Harvey for sure. For sure. Is Deontay Thornton a good grab? Look, the Deontay Thornton, obviously the Amari Cooper news. If I pull up I'll pull up my waiver tiers. These are my top 40 overall players ranked and fab budget requirements or recommendations. I also have a drops list. I also have the by position breakdown. But these are the top 40 for week 1. Again, this is also in the Fantasy Blueprint. You got a ton of stuff in there. Access to Ask Me Questions as well, depending on your tier. But if I scroll down here, Deontay Thornton was ranked 36th for me entering this week. Now, this was before the Amari Cooper news, but I was never picturing Amari Cooper to have a role in this offense. First off, he said like 2 weeks before he got traded that he was retiring. Then he joins the team and he says he's got more left in him, and now he retires again. So I don't know what's up with the Amari Cooper stuff, but I never really expected him to be a factor. So Deontay Thornton, I don't think he's that great of a grab. Like, let's be honest here. This is still an offense that has a lot of questions, and he's still behind Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, and even Ashton Genty, who can catch passes in this offense. So he's a downfield field stretcher. Like, he only caught 20 balls per season in college. He's a guy who can go downfield and really produce for you. But in fantasy, those MVS type roles, they don't really feel great. Like, yeah, once in a while, he'll catch a 40-yard touchdown, but what is that going to happen? Twice a year? And he's a rookie, which means he's not even established. So for me, he's not really worth it unless you're in a super deep league. If you're in like a 16 or 14 team league, sure, he's probably worth a bench spot. But 12, 10-mans, nah, not at all. Kelsey, Swift, or Goddard this week, I'll take DeAndre Swift there. It seems like Roshan's trending not to play on Monday night, which means it's going to be all of Swift's role. They're going to have to keep him out there over Kyle Monangai for pass protection purposes. Alrighty. $2 super chat. Ridley, Golden, Adunze this week. I'm scared of Patrick Surtain. Yeah, you very well. That is a very good point. Ridley is facing Patrick Surtain. There's a chance that he'll end up being a buy low option later in the week. It's not going to be Golden, the answer to that one. So it basically comes down to Rome Odunze versus Calvin Ridley, and I'm going to have to take Calvin Ridley there. I'll take Calvin Ridley. Brian Flores defense, Rome Odunze, first game with Ben Johnson and the new system. A little bit concerned. For the rest of the season, I'm not concerned for Odunze, but I'll take Ridley there. I feel pretty confident that Ridley's competition and Alec Imanor and Chega Konku and Tyler Lockett are nowhere near the talent level at this stage in their career, when we talk about Tyler Lockett, of course, as DJ Moore, Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, right? DeAndre Swift, yeah. TreVeyon Henderson or David Montgomery this week? Also a great question. David Montgomery is currently my running back. Let's see, 29, and Henderson's my running back 27, so I'll take Henderson. Besides Myers, who do you see being viable for the Raiders? Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty at wide receiver. Nobody. I mean, you have Brock Bowers. He's basically a wide receiver. You have Jacoby Myers. You know you want to run the ball with Ashton Genty probably 300 plus times and use 2 tight end sets. So, yeah, I don't really see a lot of other wide receivers making a huge splash in that offense, where there's 2 other guys in the offense in Bowers and Myers who will probably catch 75 plus balls a pop, right? Getting to all these super chats, don't worry. I see a bunch more coming in. We're going to get to them right now. Marvin Harrison or Pickens this week? Oof, what a great question. The answer for me is Pickens. It feels like it shouldn't be Pickens. It's Pickens. I know Pickens was a 5th round pick in fantasy and Harrison was a 3rd round pick. Probably should have been Harrison a 4th round and Pickens around the 4th. But for this week, these matchups, give me Pickens. Top 24 wide receiver. Harrison's not even in my top 30 this week. $5 super chat. I'm starting Barkley and Chase RB 1 and 2. That's a great start. Everybody wants Brown for me. Not interested in trading, but if I did, who's a good trade option? I mean, you took Chase Brown in the 2nd round, maybe the early 3rd round. Don't trade him. Hold on to him. Unless they're giving you a high-end wide receiver for some reason, like an Amon-Ra St. Brown or, right? Then don't trade him. Like, you took him there for a reason. You have a good running back core, stick with that, right? That's how you built your draft strategy. You took Chase Brown in the 2nd or 3rd round, and the rest of your picks in that draft were off of that. You don't want to just give him away just for the sake of giving him away now, unless you get a real prize, a Puka Nacua, a Amon-Ra St. Brown. Make them pay up for it, which they probably won't. But yeah, don't be trading him unless it makes total sense to. Thoughts on Matthew Golden this year? We liked him. We loved him when he was a 9th round pick earlier in fantasy and best ball. We liked him in the late summer when he started to become like a 6th and 7th round pick. I think it's fine. I think Matthew Golden is fine. He's not somebody that week 1 I'm expecting to put up 20 fantasy points, but like Xavier Worthy last year on Thursday Night Football to start the year, I wouldn't be shocked if Matthew Golden in his rookie debut puts up 20 fantasy points because he has the skill set. He has a nice fit in the offense, which is a quality offense and will move the ball and has a good play caller. So overall, I like him. But again, he's a rookie. We have to see it on the field. He's a rookie who had some concerns with his profile, but yeah, I like him for fantasy this year. I'm not trying to like go out of my way to start him this week, but if you're in a multi-flex league or a 3 wide receiver start league, then he's fine. $5 super chat from Dave. Who do I upgrade? My guy just gave me his whole lineup and asked, who do I upgrade? Judkins and Sampson are on waivers. Out of the options that you gave me right here, I would probably leave it as is. Like, you could drop Tank Bigsby and pick up a Judkins or Sampson, but I'd probably hold off for now. I would just kind of wait. I think you're good as is. If you have a backup quarterback or tight end, drop them and just hold Judkins to see what happens, but I think you're good with that lineup. TreVeyon Henderson or Matthew Golden in my flex position? Easily for me, TreVeyon Henderson there. Easily. Yeah. I'm not concerned about the fake depth charts. Ted or Sutton, I know you have them very close. I do have them very close. The answer for me is going to be Sutton. I'm almost positive, but let's take a look. Ted or McMillan, wide receiver 30 or player 34 overall. Sutton 33, and I do like Sutton more overall, so I'll take Sutton there. I'm trying to find my water bottle. I need fucking water. All right, what do we got? There's a good chance of rain in tonight's game. How much of an impact do you think it could have on Dallas's passing game? Currently have Pickens in my flex. I don't really think it matters unless the Vegas odds are moving. The most overrated thing in football when it comes to games is weather. Everybody remembers the crazy snow games or that one super crazy wind game with like the Buffalo Bills and I don't know if it was the Jets, I can't remember. They remember those specific games that literally happen once or twice a year. When it rains for football, it's fine. They have gloves. It's probably not going to downpour all 3 hours. It'll pour for 3 to 5 minutes hard, and then they're fine. And for those plays, maybe they run the ball one extra time, right? But in terms of weather in football, it's the most overrated thing unless the Vegas odds start to change for the game drastically last second because of the weather. which I have no indications right now of that happening. Let me just pull up real-time odds and I can give you the answer. But yeah, I don't see a concern for you're starting Pickens in the flex, assuming you don't have a better option, but he's fine. So let's look at this right here. If we look at the opening, so look, this game opened with a 46.5 over under. It's actually been bet up to 48.5, and there's been no recent changes based on the betting odds. So I have no reason to believe that this is going to change at all. So the weather is not a concern for me tonight as of now, which is, 3 hours before the game. So it probably won't be a concern. 2.5 hours. Nick asks, Pickens, Jalen Warren, or Pearsall on my flex? Give me Pickens there for sure. Pickens is like another level above these other flex options. Like if it's Pickens versus like other flex options in that Jalen Warren, Ricky Pearsall range, Pickens is in another stratosphere. He's a top 50 player for me. Those other guys are like around 60, 70, 80. Devonta Smith, Breece Hall, or Rome Odunze this week? I'll take Devonta Smith there. Take Devonta Smith confidently there. Is this trade fair? DJ Moore for Keon Coleman and Braylon Allen. I want the DJ Moore side there. Trade away Javonte Williams and get back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. They're both pretty mid. I'll take Javonte Williams, who I know is the starter there. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt might not even get 25 rushing yards this week, right? Like I talked about it in a video that just went out. Oh, it's actually going out tomorrow. Spoiler alert. But Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, right? The talk of the town. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt right now in the Vegas betting lines, depending on where you look, he's like projected for 25 rushing yards. Austin Eckler's projected for like 25. Chris Rodriguez is projected for like 20. Jaden Daniels is projected for 40. So Vegas is basically telling you right now that this is going to be a gross four-way backfield when you factor in the quarterback. So there's no reason to feel overly confident on Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, whereas Javonte Williams, by all accounts, is the starter at least week one. I do think other guys will factor in, but if Javonte can show that he can catch passes and there's going to be a trailing game script, I'm not shocked if Javonte walks out of tonight's game with 8 to 10 carries. Who knows how many yards he gets on them, but the big thing would be 3 to 5 receptions, right? If those are your options. Sal's going to dominate Mason in the Flock League. We hope so. Oh, a heavy hitter, a $20 super chat from Salty Ironworker. He says, Dobbins or Evan Ingram or even Myers for my flex. Hey, thanks for all your hard work to get us all a fantasy championship. Good luck this season. I appreciate that a ton. I mean, since you gave the generous donation there, let's actually pull it up right now. My answer is probably going to be Jakobi Meyers, but let's break it down. So let's just break it down. Let's just type in each of these names right now. So Myers for me is going to be So Myers is my 73rd overall player. Dobbins is my 74th overall player, which you probably don't want to see, right? Because that makes things a little bit more challenging for you. But I think we could easily rule out here Evan Ingram, who's my 107th overall player. Between those options, I'm going to go out and take Jakobi Meyers. I'll take Jakobi Meyers. I think I feel pretty confident about Jakobi Meyers having a 6 to 8 target game. More confident than I do about Dobbins seeing 12 to 15 touches and then being efficient on those touches. So I'll take Jakobi Meyers there. I appreciate the super chat. Trust Loveland or try and stream? Loveland's fine. I mean, if you want me to pull up my tight end rankings just so you feel confident in your Loveland option versus who else is on your waiver wire. If I pull up my tight end rankings this week, Loveland is my 27th ranked tight end. He's projected for 6 points. Part of this has to do with kind of just a projection of having Cole Kmet involved, which can just not be the case when we see the games played. This is the thing when you have like rookie tight ends with established veterans, which is not an often thing. We've seen it in the past with like Trey McBride, Zach Ertz. It's hard to really project out these rookies. But if you have any of these options like Jake Ferguson tonight, even Cade Otton this week, I assume Brenton Strange is available. I'd be starting those guys this week over Colston Loveland. Like taking Colston Loveland in the 10th to 12th round of your fantasy draft this year was not like a week 1 thing. It's probably a week 6 and on win you a fantasy championship thing, right? Laporta or Otton this week. Give me Sam Laporta there. That one feels very easy and confident for me. Javonte Williams or Eckler. I'll take Eckler there. Pearsall or Emeka in the flex. So we've had that exact same question. Love both of those receivers this year, but I'm taking Emeka Ibuka, especially now since Jawan Johnson is going to play, or Jawan Jennings is going to play week 1. Aaron Jones Sr. or Amarion Hampton this week. Off the top of my head, I lean Amarion Hampton there, but let me double check. Yeah, Amarion Hampton is my answer. They're close. Like if I pull it up here in the top or my rankings and projections in the Fantasy Blueprint, you can check them out at jointheblueprint.com. 12.8 fantasy points for Aaron Jones. Hampton 14.4. That's me factoring in Jordan Mason. Like, I do think Jordan Mason is a nice flex option this week. My running back 35. So I am giving him a decent size role this week. Appreciate the super chat. Pickens or Jacoby Myers? Pickens. So like any question that includes Pickens, I'm gonna say Pickens unless the other options are like difficult choices, right? Like high end receivers. We're talking like, you know, let's see the range. Terry McLaurin, JSN, Tedero McMillan, Sutton, like those are in the Pickens range for me. Anybody below that, like Pickens was a round 5 pick this year for a reason, sometimes round 4. Myers was around 7 or 8 pick for a reason. Like that's where they're valued. And that starts week 1. I like Pickens tonight a good amount. Don't have any props on Pickens tonight in terms of like the betting markets. I did take a decent amount. I have 5. So this says 4, but I actually do have 5 tonight, just because of the Dak Prescott free play. So I don't know if you're taking any pick and plays tonight, but you can check them out. You can check out this thread that I have here. I'm taking Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown. Shocker. Javonte Williams, 11.5 receiving yards feels very thin for Javonte Williams, especially since he's like the healthiest back in this backfield with a proven pass catching and pass protection role for a team that might be trailing. A.J. Brown, I took his longest reception for more than 24.5 yards. And then Dak Prescott, there's a free play of a half a yard. So you can check those out if you want. That's on Twitter. I have like another Twitter account, my normal one, and then there's Sal Bets for like any of the betting stuff I put out. Sure, most of you know that, but some of you probably don't. Some of you probably don't care because you're just here for fantasy, which is why we're all here. God, I cannot wait to schmack around Mason this week. I can't wait to schmack him around this week. Him starting 0-1. Oof. Flock Fantasy starting 0-1 in our league. Oof. It's going to feel good. I have Jaylen Warren at RB2, Devontae Adams at wide receiver 2, and Devonta Smith at my flex. But that leaves Aaron Jones on my bench. What are your thoughts? I'm starting Aaron Jones over Jaylen Warren for sure there. Pearsall or Myers in my flex. Give me Pearsall there. 2 good options. Sal, I mistakenly took both Moore and Adunze. That's not a mistake, assuming you got one in like round 4 and one in like round 8. If you took them in round 4 and 5, yeah, it's tough. But if you got the value where you got it, that's fine. Should I trade and who should I target, or do I just sit on both? Sit on both until something happens. Sit on both until something happens. If DJ Moore has a big week 1 and you want to try and trade him for a loot and hold on to Adunze, go for that. I would want to be keeping Adunze for sure overall there. But sit on both and see what happens. Who knows? Maybe the Bears become that offense that takes the next step this year, and they're the new Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where 2 wide receivers are popping off every week. Or a couple of years ago, they're the new Seattle Seahawks, who nobody really saw coming, although a lot of people expect the Bears to be much better this year for a lot of reasons. Number 1 overall pick, entering year 2, the offensive line, Ben Johnson, right? But the idea is like if that offense takes a step forward, they can definitely support 2 wide receivers, and those would be the 2 you want to have. Dallas Goedert or grab Okonkwo or Hunter Henry. I'll take Dallas Goedert there. $3 super chat from Tim. He just donates. No question. If you have a question, you could throw it in, but I appreciate that. Appreciate that a ton. Sutton, Pollard, or Pearsall, week 1 flex. Give me Sutton there. Marquise Brown or Jameson Williams this week. That's not even close. Let me just show you how not close this one is. The answer is Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams is my wide receiver 23 this week. Marquise Brown, just to show you that you definitely want to be starting Jameson this week, is my wide receiver 46. Marquise Brown is definitely a flex option this week, but Jameson Williams is a locked and loaded wide receiver 2 this week. So that's the difference. Saw somebody bring up the Iceman episode 3 tonight. Yeah, Iceman episode 3 for Drake and the start of the year. Big night. Let's see if any news has been coming out now that we're getting closer to the game. I don't think it's quite yet an hour and a half before, but let's just see more practice news coming out. I'll keep answering these questions. Don't you worry either as we go here. How many people are in this chat? No crazy news over the past hour since I looked last. It's just Christian Kirk's probably not going to play. Jefferson not on the injury report. We love to see that. Jayden Reed did practice in limited fashion today. So if you are a Jayden Reed fantasy manager, he did practice in limited fashion. Now, what does that mean? Sometimes that could just mean that he was jogging. Not really sure if he's going to play, but we'll see what the Friday practice reports, those final practice reports end up saying. Because that could definitely end up being something pretty big. Dan Blitzarian just signed up for the Blueprint. How about that? Is that the real Dan Blitzarian? Alrighty. Pacheco or Pearsall? Give me Pacheco there. Good question. Travis Hunter or James Cook this week? I'll be taking James Cook, but just to kind of show you and make you feel confident about this, let's pull up the top 150 flex rankings in the Fantasy Blueprint. Travis Hunter, my 69th overall player, definitely a wide receiver 3 option this week or flex. But James Cook is just in a different tier of player this week. My 38th overall player. James Cook is a hard player to be sitting this week unless you have a super loaded team. There's a reason why you took him in the 3rd round of your fantasy drafts, because James Cook is indeed a top 20 running back for me this week. Is indeed a top... Wow, we've already been live for 40 minutes. Sheesh, time flies when you're having fun. What are you guys doing for the game tonight? I'm about to hit up a sports bar in about an hour with a nice group of people. That sports bar is going to be packed. I live in Texas, so Dallas, Eagles, oof, it's going to be packed, which we love to see. If any of you see me out there, say what's up, by the way. Usually happens a couple of times a night during these big football weeks. Just don't murk me, right? Just say hello. Say, hey, can you review my fantasy team? That's fine. Just don't murk me. Yeah, just don't take me out. I'm not trying to get murked. Mooney or Josh Downs. So Mooney is a game time decision right now. Josh Downs is off the injury report. So based on the information we have right now, Josh Downs. Based on the information we have right now. $5 super chat. He says, trade Ted McMillan and Dylan Sampson for Odunze and Matthew Golden. Guy in my league really wants McMillan. If the guy in your league really wants McMillan, make him pay more than that. You took McMillan in what, round 5? Odunze and Golden were probably 7th and 8th round picks. And then you just get Sampson back, which could maybe be something, but maybe not, depending on, I think Jerome Ford's going to probably be the lead back week 1. We'll see what happens with Judkins. I'd make him pay more than that. I don't hate the Odunze and Golden pull though. If he's not going to pay more than that, I'd probably take the Odunze and Golden side, assuming you have another guy that you can, like another 2 guys you can start at wide receiver right away. Like if Odunze becomes your wide receiver 2, I don't feel good about that. But yeah, I would if he really wants McMillan, make him pay more. Like he's probably offering you what, his 7th and 8th round pick in your draft. You let me know, but make him give you his 6th and 8th, right? Make him give you like a Odunze and somebody higher, even if you have to throw in something a little bit better than Sampson. That's probably what I would do. Sam Darnold or Matthew Golden. I assume this is super flex. I'll be taking Sam Darnold there, which feels pretty gross, but it's a super flex league. Darnold we know is going to play the whole game and throw 30 plus times. I have Darnold projected for 15 points this week and Golden for 10. Should I start Ingram or Tyler Warren there? Those guys are basically neck and neck in my rankings this week. Ingram is my tight end 12. Warren is my tight end 14. Both projected for about 8 points. I'll take Ingram, but they're pretty close. John Cena fan donates $1. Appreciate that. $5 super chat. I have Hurts, Barkley, Brown, and Goddard. Should I start Ingram over Goddard or go with my full stack? I would be starting Goddard tonight out of those options. I mean, I see what you're saying. You have like the whole offense. If you're concerned, I'm not concerned about that. I'm fine with the full stack. But if you're concerned about that, then you can go ahead and you could start Ingram. That's fine too. But I'm not concerned about that. There's a reason why like full stacks work, right? There is a world where Jalen Hurts throws for 250 yards. Barkley still has his 20 points that he's probably going to just walk into tonight against Dallas. And if Jalen Hurts is throwing for 250 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns, yeah, A.J. Brown's probably having a bulk of that. And all you really need out of your tight end is 10 fantasy points, 4 catches for 60 yards, score a 10-yard touchdown, right? So the stack is fine there for me. They're all good players and a good offense projected for a lot of points tonight. Yeah, appreciate all these super chats. Jerome Ford or Breece Hall? Give me Breece Hall tonight. Yeah, I'll take Breece Hall there. Kittle versus Pollard. I will be taking Pollard. Sal, you think CeeDee Lamb can get me 6 catches or should I start Pickens? I think CeeDee Lamb can definitely get you 6 catches. Yeah, you're starting CeeDee Lamb over George Pickens. Yeah, I mean, you could start both. Like if you're concerned about starting Pickens because you have Lamb, I wouldn't be. There's a chance the Cowboys play from behind like a lot of the fourth quarter or even second half, which is going to lead to 40 pass attempts. And if Dak's throwing 40 times, 10 plus of those are going to CeeDee Lamb, 7 to 8 plus of those are going to George Pickens. I mean, their only other competition at wide receiver, or just in general, not even wide receiver, is going to be Jake Ferguson, who just doesn't operate in the same areas of the field as a George Pickens, and really as a CeeDee Lamb either. It's kind of like just a quick out type guy, or just a fall into the middle of the zone at the first down marker, 7 yards downfield. Worthy or DJ Moore? I'll take Xavier Worthy there. Yeah, Worthy profiles out really good without Rashee Rice in the lineup. He's a top 12 wide receiver for me this week. So, I mean, he's a wide receiver 1. I have Worthy projected like right around guys like A.J. Brown, Nico Collins this week. That's just how well he projects without A.J. Brown in the lineup. Or not without Rashee Rice in the lineup. Zay Flowers or George Pickens at flex. Those guys are close. They're both top 24 receivers. I'll take George Pickens over Flowers tonight. Does Lamb get 6 catches tonight? I mean, what is his player prop set at? It's probably set at, my guess would be like 6.5. So I would say, yeah, it's probably set at 6.5 is my guess. If I have Brian Thomas Jr. ready, should I flex Travis Hunter, DJ Moore, or Aaron Jones? I'll flex DJ Moore out of those options. Abuka or Hampton in my flex. I'll take Hampton there. Those are close though, but I'll take Hampton. Pick one. Pickens, Henderson, or Swift? Pickens. Yeah. Pickens and Swift are pretty close actually. Let me double check that. So Pickens is my 45th overall player. Swift is my 40th. That one's close. Is it a PPR or half PPR? If it's PPR, I'll go. Even that makes it a little bit closer. If it's a PPR, I'll go Pickens. If it's a half, I'll go Swift. I do think Pickens has more catches than Swift this week. I think Pickens probably snags 5+ catches. I think Swift probably at the top end gets 3. But yeah, if you're just tuning in, Roschon Johnson is still not practicing. Now they do play on Monday night, so they have an extra day. But if Roschon doesn't play and the Bears are walking into that game with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai as your running backs, like there's no way they're putting Kyle Monangai on the field in a Brian Flores defense just coming at them. Kyle Monangai cannot pass protect, definitely not against Brian Flores' defense. So Swift's just going to play like all the snaps on Monday night. He's not going to play 100%, but there's a world where he plays 70+%. And at that point, that's just hard to ignore. It's also nice just to have that like Monday night cushion. If you're down by 10 points, you have Swift to watch. But I mean, that doesn't really factor in, but that is that is the reason I like Swift. The competition doesn't look like it's going to be there unless Roschon can start practicing tomorrow or Saturday. Which it doesn't seem like that's the case right now. It doesn't seem like he's trending in that direction since he's DNPing. Pollard or Kittle? Pollard versus Kittle. Kittle's my 47th overall player this week. So I believe I like Pollard more. Yeah, I'll take Pollard. So Kittle in like your flex? What round did you get Kittle in that he's a flex option and not your starting tight end? That's kind of crazy. J-Mo or Abuka this week? I'll take J-Mo there. Yeah. Ridley or Diggs? Definitely Ridley. Ridley's on a different level than Diggs for me. He's a wide receiver 1. We're hoping the offense is good. Like they can protect enough for Cam Ward to get him the ball. We saw it in glimpses in the preseason and it looked pretty nice. I like Diggs overall this year, but there's still some concerns about his early season stuff coming off the torn ACL. There was like rumors today, or at least he was bringing it up, that he could be on a snap count week 1. I don't know if he will be. We don't have confirmation of that, but it would make sense that a 31-year-old receiver off an ACL is maybe a little bit eased in his first like 100% full on action. Like he was participating in practice and training camps in August, but there's a different level when you have to go like full speed, explosiveness, and push-offs in a game as opposed to just like training camp practice. Will Jalen Hurts score a rushing touchdown tonight? The odds are in his favor every single time he goes out there when he's scoring, averaging 14 or 15 touchdowns a year the last couple of seasons. I took him to have more than a half a rushing touchdown, yeah. 10-man league, we have an extra flex spot instead of a tight end. Is Bowers still a must start? Yeah, definitely. Bowers is a must start. Like in terms of a 10-man league where you can either put him in your flex or not play him, yeah, he's going to be better than most of your flex options, I would assume. Brock Bowers for me this week is let's just see where he grades out overall. Bowers is my 39th overall player, projected for 13.7 points. If I pull it up right here, he's projected for 13.7 points. So unless you have a loaded team, yeah, you're going to be starting Brock Bowers in that flex spot. London or Brian Thomas Jr.? What is this, a 6-man league? London or Brian Thomas Jr. between those two options? Loaded team. I'm taking Brian Thomas there, but I mean, they're like both. It's pretty crazy that those are your options. They're both top 10 wide receivers. Pickens or Hampton for my flex. Second question is Breece Hall or Pickens for my flex. So for your second league, I'm taking Pickens over Hall in the flex spot. And then let's pull up the Hampton versus Pickens debate here. The answer is going to be Hampton, just barely. So Hampton is my 32nd overall player. Pickens is my 45th overall player. So maybe it's not barely, but they're like a point apart in projections. Love the content, Sal. Appreciate that question. Half point PPR flex. Harvey, Golden, or Pittman. Who would you start? I'd be starting Harvey there. Coyote says, do I start Odunze, Josh Downs, or Olave? Thank you so much. I want Odunze there. It's close with Olave. It's closer than you think with Olave, given that terrible quarterback situation. Like if there was just anything competent at quarterback there and not Spencer Rattler, the answer would be Olave. He's just that talented. But I got to go Odunze there. Abuka or Olave in week 1? Give me Emeka Abuka. Dak or Trevor Lawrence this week? Yeah, so I'm getting this question a lot. Like the Dak question makes sense because there's a chance where he does throw 40 plus times tonight, but it's really hard to ignore Trevor Lawrence's matchup and situation. Like they have to get it done this week, Trevor Lawrence. So Lawrence is a top 10 quarterback for me this week. He's somebody I would start over Brock Purdy, over Jordan Love, not every week of the year, but this week specifically. We know he's healthy, which has not always been the case in like half of his games in his NFL career. But as of right now, he's healthy entering the season, improved offensive coordinator and just coach in Liam Coen, improved offense. And at the end of the day, he's facing the Carolina Panthers, who like just don't have talent on their defense, like at all spots. This should be a spot where the Jags showcase, right? If the Jaguars do not win this game, like obviously the Panthers are on the upswing with Dave Canales, Bryce Young looked good to end last year. Now they have a wide receiver one in McMillan. The offensive line should be middle of the pack, upwards, can be a top 10 unit if they really pop off. But the Jaguars really need to style on the Panthers. Like they've put so much into this team, trading up so many pieces for Travis Hunter, going back to the table with Liam Coen when that deal fell apart and basically changing their general manager to James Gladstone, youngest GM I think of all time, just so they can get Liam Coen. Like they put too much into the 2025 Jaguars to not be good on offense and just in general. I need a flex, Travion Henderson or McMillan? McMillan. Dollar super chat from Lemon. I appreciate that. Just doesn't say anything, just does it. $5 super chat from Joseph. DJ Moore or Ridley wide receiver 2 spot this week? Let's pull it up for you. I appreciate the super chat. So we'll pull up the rankings on the screen right here. They're going to be similar-ish tier of player. DJ Moore is my wide receiver 29 for 12.4 points this week. Ridley is my wide receiver 32 for 12 points. So they're very similar. I'll take DJ Moore. But they're very similar values this week. But I'll be taking DJ Moore. McCarthy or Jordan Love this week? I'm going to go Jordan Love there. Yeah, I'm going Jordan Love. McMillan or Ridley? Tedero McMillan. Yeah, McMillan's graded really highly for me. Like all summer, we liked him as a 5th round pick. Even if you had to take him in the 4th, that was fine in drafts. He's a top 20 wide receiver this week. There's just not much else to throw to. Jalen Coker's on IR. Adam Thielen was traded away. It's like Xavier Legette, and that's it, right? In Carolina. Xavier Legette and Jatavion Sanders, a second-year tight end coming off of an injury. Like, there's not much here. It's going to have to go through Tedero McMillan. Hey, Sal, I've been following you for over a year now. You helped me win my league. Nice. Quick question. PPR flex week 1, Abuka or Pearsall? Give me Abuka there. Yeah, both guys are great. I want Abuka either way, given that Chris Godwin is not going to play. And obviously, Jalen McMillan's out for a long time. But now that we have the news as of like this morning, last night, that Juwan Jennings is going to play week 1, they gave him an extra $3 million in player incentives. He's healthy off of this calf injury he's been dealing with. And really, who knows if it was the injury or the contract, probably both. It seems like he's playing week 1, which just hurts the target share a little bit of Pearsall because you have to also factor in Christian McCaffrey's back healthy. I mean, that's at least, I would assume, 5+ targets. George Kittle's there. That's probably 6+ targets. And now you throw Pearsall into the mix or you throw Jennings into the mix. Just hurts Pearsall's upside a little bit more. Abuka just basically has to deal with Mike Evans and a little bit of Cade Otton. So it's like one guy compared to 3 that Pearsall now has to deal with. Jason Clark, pick 2. Abuka, Odunze, Downs, and Jordan Mason. Abuka and Odunze there for me. Yeah, I like definitely Abuka's like an easy one. Downs and Odunze are not close. So yeah, it's Odunze. Those are the 2 options I'd go to. Let's see if any news has been coming out. An hour and a half before lock news will come out, so we probably have like another 30 minutes until final injury reports, but there's really nothing that we're trying to monitor right now. Like AJ Brown off of the hamstring has already been practicing and fine. So it's not like a week 2 Thursday game next week where we'll actually have some injury reports to watch because the game will be played. Everything right now, like the only thing that changes heading into week 1 is that during training camp, you don't have to disclose an injury report, like put on there if it was a full participant not practicing. Just beat writers will like see guys in sweatpants and say they're not practicing. But you don't know if a player is actually dealing with an injury and just kind of participating in walkthroughs and you don't know about it. But based on all the injury reports that now have to become official heading into week 1, there's nothing concerning for like either team in this game tonight from an injury front. Like Javonte is fine as the RB1. All the starting pieces for the Cowboys look good to go outside of like Tyler Guyton on the offensive line, but like for fantasy, they look all good to go. Same for the Eagles side. $2 super chat. Henderson, Pickens, Pearsall in my flex, Njoku or Hawkinson at tight end. For your flex, it's going to be Pickens there. And then if we go into the Njoku versus Hawkinson, I'll just show you these tight end rankings so you know exactly how to feel about this. I have Njoku as my tight end 6 this week. He's kind of in a different tier than Hawkinson, who's my tight end 8. I have Njoku projected for 2 more points. Njoku is one of the 6 tight ends this week that I would say is a must start. Now, if you're lucky enough to have 2 of these guys on your team, obviously start the one projected higher. But there's 6 tight ends that I think are must starts. It's McBride, Bowers, Kittle. Those are like obvious. And then Kelsey, Mark Andrews, and David Njoku. That's factoring in matchups, their roles, all that stuff. Those guys are must starts for me this week. And then there's kind of like this second tier of tight ends that you can see right here in Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, and Tucker Kraft that, assuming you don't have one of these 6 guys, I'd feel really confident starting them. But since you have Hawkinson and Njoku, I'd make the decision and go Njoku. Now, your next question might be like, can Hawkinson be a flex option for me? Yes, but odds are you have a better wide receiver. Like I would rather have Matthew Golden over Hawkinson in my flex, right? And Golden's like my wide receiver 46, but that's just, you're just going to get a lot more opportunities, especially downfield out of a boundary wide receiver like Golden compared to a tight end like Hawkinson. They didn't look good coming off the injury last year. Kind of need a touchdown probably out of him. Jim Williams donates $5. If you have a question, you could throw it in there, but you didn't put one for now. Tedero, McMillan, or DK Metcalf in my flex. I got Brian Thomas and Worthy. Yeah, Brian Thomas and Worthy are great options as your wide receiver 1 and 2. Those guys are both top 12 wide receivers for me right now. Brian Thomas is almost a top 5 wide receiver. To answer your next question, between DK and Tedero McMillan, it's going to be McMillan for me. DK's my wide receiver 26 this week. McMillan's a top 20 receiver for me. So McMillan's like above and beyond. I feel really good about starting McMillan this week. Like I'm starting Tedero McMillan over some serious names this week. Like I'd start Tedero McMillan over JSN, over McLaurin, over Pickens, over Zay Flowers. There's just going to be 30 plus pass attempts, and it's hard to see him not seeing 8 plus targets, maybe more. Yeah. All right. Purdy or Dak this week? I'll take Brock Purdy there. Pickens or Devontae Adams at my flex position? I'll take Devontae Adams. That's a close one. Those guys are like very similar tiered players. Yeah, both top 24 guys. Yeah, start Ridley or Downs. That one's Ridley. That one's pretty easy. $2 super chat, no question. If you have a question, you can throw it in. Sutton, Pickens, and Pearsall start 1. Sutton. Yeah, Cortland Sutton for sure. My wide receiver 16, projected for 14 points. He's projected right around Ladd McConkey, Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, these guys who went way ahead of him in fantasy drafts. I think Cortland Sutton was probably one of the best steals if you got him in round 5 of your fantasy draft. I mean, he's just ascending offense, great offensive line, quarterback who showed it in year 1, has a proven head coach in Sean Payton entering year 2, and they didn't give Cortland Sutton any new competition. Like, yeah, they brought in Evan Ingram, but he doesn't win in the same places as Cortland Sutton. Ingram's normally that guy in the short to intermediate parts of the field. Sutton can operate in all levels of the field, especially downfield. Those jump ball situations, not many people were better than Cortland Sutton last year. JSN, James Conner, Pittman for Devonta Smith, Jacobs, and Abuka. I'll be taking the Devonta Smith, Jacobs, and Abuka side, and it's not that one's not even close. Like, I think the person getting the Devonta Smith, Jacobs, and Abuka side is, I mean, out of all the questions asked today about trades, that is the biggest fleece. Yeah. I mean, you just 1-for-1 it. Abuka is levels above Pittman this year right now. Jacobs is levels above James Conner, and Devonta Smith and JSN. I'd rather have JSN, but that one's not that far off. Yeah. Braylon Allen or Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt this week. Dang, that's a rough spot. Hopefully that's a deeper league. I'm starting Braylon Allen over Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I just know for a fact he's the RB2 potentially pushing for half the work. With Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, I'm not even sure if he's the RB2 on his team. We'll find out week 1 what the split is, but there's a chance it's a 3-headed backfield with a mobile quarterback. None of that's all that appealing. Yeah, none of that's that pretty at all. Pickens or Pollard for my flex. I'll go Pickens there. I think I'll go. Let me double check that one. Actually, give me Tony Pollard there. Pickens or Pollard. Yeah, give me Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's a top 15 running back, 15.5 points this week. It's just hard not to like Pollard. when you don't have a Tajay Spears, when you know he's probably going to go out there and see minimum 16 touches. Like, even if the game gets out of hand, he's probably getting 10 first half touches, and just a couple targets in the second half is enough. And I don't think it's going to get out of hand. $5 super chat. It's a 2 quarterback, 2 flex league. And he says, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young. Okay, he's giving me his whole team. Any changes you would do here? What are your bench options? You're just like giving me 2 quarterbacks. You're starting the 2 quarterbacks that you have. Yeah, like, what are your bench options here? If your bench options are, I mean, you're starting Puka, you're starting Tet, you're starting Hampton, Bucky, and Gibbs. So, like, whatever that does for your flex. Yeah. Pickens or Pollard? Thoughts on Mason Taylor, Otten, or Gesicki? I'm going to go Otten there. I mean, Mason Taylor, there's a world where as a second-round tight end pick, a talented one at that, who can catch passes for the Jets, that he does emerge as their number 2 option. But it's also a second-round tight end that it's the toughest position to learn right away. And it's not like he's a top 10 overall pick, you know, to kind of have that learning curve adjustment. So, yeah, I'm not really big on Mason Taylor right now. Like, if you're in your super deep leagues and you just need a roster tight end, sure. But Mason Taylor is my tight end 34, projected for 4.5 points this week. So, yeah. Is Deontay Thornton worth picking up in a 10-man league? No. Deontay Thornton in my waiver wire tiers right here, he's my 36th overall player on waivers. Like, I would rather have guys like Isaac Tesla, Rico Dottle, Adam Thielen above Deontay Thornton at this point. There's just not really a path for Thornton to do much. Obviously, I know the Amari Cooper news is retiring, but even when he signed, I didn't think he was going to be involved all that much. So Deontay Thornton is behind Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers in an offense that we're expecting to run the ball a ton. So that just doesn't feel like something I think is really going to pop off. Waddle, Pearsall, or Moore for my wide receiver 2 and flex. I want DJ Moore, assuming that's DJ Moore and Waddle there in any order that you want. I'd put DJ Moore in your flex just because he plays on Monday night in case some wacky stuff happened where Moore got hurt. You have more flexibility to put in a different position if you needed to off the waivers. But yeah, I'd start those 2. What are the rankings you're showing? The rankings that I'm showing right here. So this is just the waiver wire like tiers and then Fab budget recommendations I have. And then these are my overall tiers for Fab. And then these are probably what you're talking about. These are my positional rankings and projections, just dropped today for week 1, will be updated over the weekend. And then these are my top 150 flex rankings and projections. So basically you just follow the highest projected guy here in order. That's how you start your lineup. So like all the questions, we probably had thousands of them asked on this live stream and throughout the week. Literally all those questions, it's like having me by your side to answer, because this is what I use to answer those questions for myself. This number right here, like these projections, it just looks like a number, but there's so much legwork that goes into that. 10 to 15 different variables about game pace and pace of play and Vegas totals, which Vegas totals take into account so much of that stuff already, and weather and all these other things, coaches' decisions, right? Projecting roles. All of that goes into this that I spend a lot of time early in the week doing, and then I put it into these nice fancy projections and you all can use it. Just one piece of what you get inside the fantasy blueprint. So since we're getting close to the end, I'll answer more of these questions, especially the super chats. But yeah, if you want to join, there's over 10,000 people currently a part of the fantasy blueprint. You can check it out. It's linked down below of this stream, but also you just type in jointheblueprint.com. You'll get these tools every week, right? These rankings, the waiver stuff that we showed earlier, matchup notes for every single player. So like, if you're like, what is the matchup for this running back and this receiver? Like, it'll show you exactly the advantage that they have on a cornerback or the disadvantage. Same thing for quarterbacks, tight ends, and then all the other tools that go out each week as well. Access to me, all that. I have Purdy and Darnold. Who do I start? Definitely Purdy there. Yeah, definitely Purdy. Choose 2 from Waddle, Worthy, Golden, and Jameson Williams. Thanks for the blueprint for the draft. Yeah, appreciate it. Glad that you had it. Worthy's a must start there for me. And then it just basically comes down to Jameson Williams and Waddle. And I'll just show you the projections so you can feel good about this yourself seeing it. Jameson Williams is my wide receiver 23. Waddle's my wide receiver 28. They're both very close, of course, but I'll take Jameson Williams. I'll take Jameson Williams and Worthy there as those options. Chase Brown and Tedero McMillan for Bucky Irving and TreVeyon Henderson. I much prefer Chase Brown and Tedero McMillan side of that one. Crafter Hawkinson today. I'll be taking, that one's close. They're in like the same tier. It's like a tier 2 of tight ends this week. I'll take Hawkinson. $20 super chat. Appreciate the $20 donation. Nightwave. Can you grade my team and lineup this week? It's a 12-man. He had the 12th pick. He has Daniels, Drake London, Mike Evans. That's a nice start. Aston Genty. Really? Wow, this is a 12-man league. This is pretty good. So you went Genty, London, Daniels, Mike Evans for your first 4 picks. I assume your 5th pick was Pollard. That feels a little bit early, but not terrible. I don't know where you went from there. Like pick 6 on Evan Ingram's way too early if that's what you did. Pick 7 was maybe Purdy, which I don't know why you took another quarterback. Maybe pick 7 was Jordan Mason. Your first 5 picks were awesome. Your wide receivers, your running backs, and your quarterback are good. I would grade your wide receivers an 8 out of 10. That's a really good starting spot. Your quarterback's a 10 out of 10 with Daniels. Your tight end with Evan Ingram, 6 to 7 out of 10 there. Give it a 6.5. And at running back, Genty and Pollard is a good running back core. You have Jordan Mason on the bench and Javonte. I would give that a 7 out of 10 as well. So like overall, that looks like a 7 to 8 out of 10 team, which is definitely a playoff team just on paper right now. And it's really going to come down to your depth. Like you need Mooney to stay healthy and hit, and you need Jordan Mason to come through because your depth is really thin at that point. Your starters are solid, but the depth is really thin if something doesn't pan out with that starting unit or an injury occurs. All right, I'm going to answer some of the final super chats now. So if you want to make sure your question definitely gets answered, you can drop it in now. Otherwise, if you're a Blueprint Plus member, I'll just answer them in the chat tomorrow on Discord. And then we'll be live also Sunday before the games start. Should I run Pitts or grab Otten, Ferguson, or Strange off of the waivers? I want, out of those options, I'll take Cade Otten. PPR, pick a running back and a flex. Pacheco, Hampton, Ibuka, and Sutton. Oof. Hampton and Sutton. Those are great options. The fact that you have to sit Pacheco and Ibuka, I assume it's like a 10 to 8-man league, but that's a really good team. That's a really good team. All right, we're less than 2 hours away from kickoff. I think we're good here. If you have a final question, you can get it in. We'll be back on Sunday before the game starts. There'll be a video going up tomorrow as well. But other than that, enjoy the game tonight. Best of luck with the start of your matchups, and I'll see you all in the next one.